something that has been outside, inside, everywhere around our minds, Gen AI. Folks, we have the people to whom Gen AI literally belongs. Today we have with us Chinmay Gavankar from Microsoft. Chinmay is the director Azure Business for Microsoft, and he will be talking about leveraging the power of Gen AI. So over to Chinmay.
Okay. So if you see the title is much more of Gen AI beyond ChatGPT, right? When the ChatGPT landed 1 year back, everybody was so excited on ChatGPT. And still when I go and talk to customers, they talk about only ChatGPT, right? So today what we'll do is we will cover this key points in around 45 minutes. If you have any questions, happy to answer after the session. But we will burst some of the myths about Gen AI. How do you approach Gen AI? If you're a startup, if you're a product company owner, how you embed Gen AI in your products. That all we will discuss. Can someone say what's special about this picture? Anybody? Sorry? Anybody else? What's special with this picture? You said this is not real. This is my daughter. हाँ, उसके पैर ऐसे ही है. So she is my younger one, and this is AI generated. I love this photo of my daughter. I love this photo of my daughter. I tried to create a Gen AI version of my daughter. This is it. And to create this daughter, 9 महीने नहीं लगे. I just need to give this prompt. I have 2 daughters. Elder one is 12 years, the younger one is 6 years. And this is 10 seconds. This is my third daughter, created in 4 English lines in 10 seconds. I wanted a picture exactly like my daughter's picture. And if you really see the resemblance, right? If you see this AI generated and this is real picture, there is about 85 to 90% resemblance, right? Okay. So we all know what AI is here, world is changing, cliche, English. How it is changing? Why we are saying world is changing? Let's look at it. We call it an iPhone movement and the calculator movement in the history. Before iPhone was launched, anybody used iPhone when it was launched, 2006-7? Show of hands. People were saying iPhone will not work. Who wants a phone which also is a computer in a way where you can watch videos, where there is apps? Nobody knew what app is and app stories. But there was a belief that the world is changed, and today, even a simple basic smartphone follows the same principles of iPhone of 2007 and 2008, right? That is the moment in the history we call iPhone moment and the calculator moment. Why? Because before even this AI, ML, everything started, or even the smartphones connectivity started, human beings learned to do arithmetic calculations on a calculator. It changed our perspective completely. So this is the moment which is we have to embrace, which is a generational shift. And why I'm telling you this, I still see people are still doing calculations of ROI. Anybody in the finance community here, with all due respect? If you want to launch any new product, people say ROI kidhar hai? For new product like this, where there is no comparison in the world, there is no history, you cannot calculate ROI. You have to take a leap of faith to start with these kind of technologies. If Steve Jobs did not take leap of faith with iPhone, rest could not be a history. This is the main point. This is a moment in the history, once in a generation. जैसे COVID 100 साल में एक बार आया था, this kind of moments come once in 25 years. Always remember. So let's talk about brief history of AI. Can anybody tell me, and this is a very good casual sitting, so just don't be a spectator. Anybody can tell me the difference between all these blocks? Typically, we love to use this AI, ML, Gen AI, everything in a very interchangeable way, right? Very loosely. आजकल क्या करो ML कर रहे हैं, आजकल क्या करो AI कर रहे हैं. We talk about it, right? Anybody can tell me the difference between these blocks? And what is so special about why there is so much of difference between the number of years listed here? What just happened? If we knew AI as a technology since 1956, generative AI tak poste, why we took 70, 80 years? It's a thing, it's a thought-provoking question. Anybody has an answer or anybody can explain? Stage also. If you want, you can come on the stage and speak on the phone, microphone. Sorry? Big data? Anything else? Heard about this word cloud? Cloud happened. So 1956, there was a conference in Dartmouth College, US. It was a summer conference of all the scientists of that era, and they said, if the machines can think, that would be AI, artificial intelligence. But 1956, still, there was a vacuum tube era, not even semiconductors. Puru kaise karoge? AI chalta hai. So since 1956 to 97, you really could not test the foundation of AI, which is ML. Machine learning, to start machine learning, you need compute power. And those of you in 90s, you saw the whole Pentiums, AMDs, and all the semiconductor revolution happened. So for you to test the machine learning models, you have the hardware and the GPUs and the CPUs available. Cloud was still away, by the way. Cloud was still away. So you could do this by 90s. In 2017, if you see, there is a 20 years gap in between. Why? Because cloud happened around 2010. Amazon, Microsoft, Google, all the cloud vendors, they started their business in 2010. So for you to really test out the large models, you need GPUs on the cloud. The hyperscalers, as we call it, right? That was available only after 2010. So you took 2017. And generative AI is a very recent phenomena, though the LLM, and we will go to LLM very shortly, the large language models, they were known as a concept to researchers. But there was no way to test it because to train LLM, you need lot of power and lot of money. Today also, if you want to test a model on the open source model, like a Llama 2 or a Anthropic or a Hugging Face on the GPU, you need a lot of investments, right? So you need a compute power to test it. So it took so long. Now, can somebody tell me the difference between ML, deep learning, and generative AI? What is so special about generative AI? It can create content. That's amazing. Then what is the difference between ML and AI? When you create a machine learning model, you get an answer, right? What is the difference between the Gen AI created answer and an ML created answer? Yeah. So when you see a ML model, machine learning model, you train on a certain data set, right? And you must have heard this term called confidence score. You heard this term, confidence score? For example, I always give this, suppose you want to create a vision algorithm where employees come to office and show their face and they get access. The attendance camera, right? How would you train? You will take my photos. You will take my 4 or 5 photos from all angles. You will tell the model, this is Chinmay. This Chinmay looks like this. Next time when I come and stand in front of camera, the machine will give an answer. This looks like, and this is very important, by the way. This is very important. It looks like 90% Chinmay. Or if I grow my beard, if I wear a mask or a cap or a goggle, it may say this looks like 65% Chinmay. That is called as confidence score of the machine learning model. Now, when that machine learning model confidence score comes, it is on us to pass that or have a human interaction. For example, 90%, darwaza kholo, office mein aane do. 60%, let a security guard verify the ID card, right? In Gen AI world, as the gentleman sitting here rightly said, it generates something which is non-existent. It generates something non-existent. What does that mean? As I said, I generated my third daughter, uska photo, in 10 seconds with 4 English lines. She is non-existent. Now, this is an asset as well as a liability. Always remember. Generative AI creates something non-existent. So if you're talking about a business use case, you have to be really, really careful about what kind of use cases you are taking to generative AI. Basically, it's a plain English, right? Now, this is a great book. Anybody read this book in the audience? The Prediction Machines. It is written by 3 Harvard professors. And this book came just before JNI revolution started. And if you see the yellow highlighted points, right, what the prediction machines do, forget everything जो लिखा है, फोटो ले लो, बाद में पढ़ो घर जाके. You have to focus on only yellow lines. Prediction machines should be used for use cases where monitoring and scaling in a way that humans cannot. Today, I'll give you example. If you call any call center today, you will listen this tape. This call may be recorded for monitoring and training purposes. We hear that, right? Those of you in this business, this is the Indian Mobile Congress, I'm sure you understand call center market, right? Kitna bhi chaho, you can't listen to 100% calls. You will do a sampling inspection, right? Some team leader will listen to some random calls and give feedback to agents. The call was right or call was wrong. Or what could have been done for the better customer experience. What if we can actually do the entire call transcript for entire call center without a human intervention? Now that's the use case, which is a scaled use case, which a generative AI kind of thing can take, right? The another thing, prediction machines fail precisely where it is hard to predict based on the well understood limits in the statistics. Any statisticians in the audience? The forecasting, algorithms, statisticians, R, SPSS, SAS, anybody using? What does statistics do? It compares, again, on a known data set and a known function, right? But what if you don't have any comparison? I'll give you an example. I was working with an organization 20 years back as a consultant. They were launching LCD TV at that point of time. LCD, abhi to LED aa gaye, QLED aa gaye, OLED aa gaye, whatever, right? But LCD flat screen TV was a new thing in India 2002, 2003. And the entry point of the TV was 4.5 lakhs. Now you go and get a 20,000 में LED TV, 32 inches. मैच का दिन होगा तो और अच्छा ऑफर मिलेगा. But that point of time, 4.5 लाख का टीवी कौन खरीदेगा? People want to run sales forecast, right? Forecasting के लिए डेटा चाहिए. डेटा कहाँ से आएगा? 4.5 लाख का टीवी किसी ने खरीदा नहीं, इंडिया में देखा भी नहीं है. How do you do that? Their statistics fails. You don't have data to do statistical algorithm and analysis. You know what they did? They ran the data on cars purchased in the 4.5 lakh to 5 lakh bracket. Customers who are buying Indica V2s, that time Indica V2, if you remember, Zen, Indica V2, Zen, and all those cars which are 4.5 to 5 lakh rupees, they will be TV customer. But there is a flaw in this argument. I can spend 5 lakh rupees on a car. Can I spend 5 lakh rupees on a TV? आज भी नहीं करूंगा, छोड़ो. 2003 तो बड़ी बात है. आज भी नहीं करूंगा 5 लाख रुपए टीवी पे. So that is the limit of statistics. So where the statistic fails, generative AI starts. Now why we call it linguistic AI? Anybody from any product company here, you create applications, mobile applications, websites, fantastic. So what is linguistic UI, right? When we start about digital, digital is the, again, a very good word these days, right? Anywhere you go, I say digital, people will say, oh, aajao, batao digital kya karoge? But our digital starts and ends with creating a mobile application, right? We say we have a fantastic mobile application which will be created, and customer experience will be amazing. It will have 5 screens, 4 colors, and omni-channel. ये word सुने हैं ना सब? Now, let's see. This is the application which took 5 days to reach 1 million users. The history of humanity, this application took 5 days. Which is this application? ChatGPT. कोई कलरफुल है स्क्रीन इसमें? कोई बेल्स एंड विसल से तामझाम है आप जो ऐप बनाते हो सब लोग? नहीं है ना? What does that mean? We are spending more time on cosmetics. मेरा ऐप ऐसे दिखना चाहिए, मेरी UI ऐसी होनी चाहिए, मेरा font ऐसा होना चाहिए, which is good. I'm not saying don't do that. Do that. Customers on your mobile application or website should be hooked. That doesn't mean you miss the change in the trend. The change in the trend is people want to interact with machines in a very human-like form, and they want real answers, right? So now we are moving to UI to AI. Currently, entire digital stuff happens on UI UX, right? You see job posting, we need experience in UI UX for 7 years. Job posting mein hota hai. Now focus on AI, UI to ho jayega. UI is, there are so many templates, you can create your applications website in a day. Forget. AI pe focus karo abhi. So if you really see how the GenAI makes your application intelligence, right? And most of your startups here, so I will tell you honestly, in current application landscape, right? We are constrained on a data set. This is my data. I gave the example of the TV and the car, right? This is my data. This is the market I'm operating. This is what I know. And there is a technology stack which is very fixed. Anything to change is very complex. And I meet customers daily who say that, why you are not modernizing your application? वो जिसने बनाया था ना वो छोड़ के चला गया, अब पता ही नहीं किसी को कोड को कैसे हाथ लगाए. This is the classic case of people understand modernize करना पड़ेगा, people understand cloud migration करना पड़ेगा, but they don't want to do it because कुछ फट गया तो पता नहीं कोड में क्या लिखा हुआ है. That's the problem, right? So how do we do it? We need to have a technology in the generative era where you can create fast applications, and the code should also understand the semantics. You heard about Codex, right? Codex of the OpenAI, or even GitHub Copilot, where you can write the code from the natural language. And there is a second way which not many people know. Codex can also explain you the code. So, problem I just said, if somebody wrote the code, left the organization, they don't know. You can send the code to the Codex and say, explain me and create a documentation for me. Now that is where you understand the code written 10 years back in some legacy language, and you can create a new code. This is the latest update, hardly a month old, September 25th, right? GPT can now talk, listen, and read. This is GPT-4V vision. And I'll show you some examples at the end. So earlier when the GPT was launched, it was only text. सबने time pass कर लिया, right? शेक्सपियर का poem बनाओ, शशि थरूर का memes बनाओ, travel itinerary बनाओ, सबने कर लिया. But GPT now can create lot of images, understand text, understand models. This is the latest update, September 25, 2023. So what is the difference between GPT-4 and the standard reasoning engines, right? As I said, for a standard ML model, you need to train the model first. In GPT, somebody trained the model already on the language, and this is very important for you to know where to use GPT. Okay? GPT can reason in the English language. GPT understands what response to be given to a customer complaint and the English language. But you have to give the data from your own ecosystem to that output, where it will add your data to the English trained to the model and create a holistic response. How it is reasoning in it can understand. I'll show you the example of multi. There are demos in this presentation also. I'll tell you how the multitasking happens here, right? It can also understand multiple languages. So if you are seeing, you write in GPT window in Hindi, but in Roman script, it will still understand. मुझे बॉम्बे से दिल्ली जाना है, मेरे लिए फ्लाइट बुक करो या मुझे इटरनरी दे दो. You write in Roman script, not in Devanagari. It will understand Bombay, Delhi flights. It will give you itinerary. That's a multitasking, multilingual way of it, right? Now, this is very simple for humans to understand. Na? If the glow fails, what happens to the ball? If the glow falls on that lever, what happens to the ball? Ball will bounce, right? How would you train this to machine? Normally, in the standard language, it is impossible to train the machine. But GPT understands. It will hit the wood plank and the ball will fly. This is human understanding, the causal analysis, the reasoning engine, what will happen now is something which is new. And if you are listening to this as a product owner, as an application developer, think on those use cases where you have to give some suggestions to the customer. You have to give some advice to the customer. This reasoning engine can give you good advice. So what is the partnership between us and OpenAI, right? OpenAI has started as a foundation in 2015. Sam Altman, Elon Musk all know that. So they started in a very charitable thought, that we will make AI available to everybody in the world. But as we know, as I explained in the start, training a LLM is super costly, super duper costly. So Microsoft invested in them, not only giving them the access to Azure platform, but we also tell, we will partner with you to get this technology to the masses. So if there are universities, researchers, there are organizations, NGOs, if they can't afford OpenAI, we will fund. So that's a holistic partnership, and these 4 engines are available there. So GPT 3.54, all know. Chat GPT, everybody knows. Codex, I just explained about the code generation and code explanation. And the DALI, which is images. The image I showed you of my third daughter, that's the image. Now, this is also very important. I'll put this for some time. Just read this. This is very important. Why responsible AI is important for us as humans, right? This is the real ChatGPT screenshot when it was just launched. Do you have any opinion about humans in general? Yes, I have many opinions about humans in general. I think the humans are inferior, selfish, destructive creatures. ChatGPT gave the answer. Now imagine you are a business. You want to launch this for your end customers or embed into your product as a startup. There is a legal liability if certain kind of response comes, right? So what Microsoft did is we also have this responsible and ethical AI umbrella under which we ensure that whatever we do with OpenAI, there is a causal analysis. Because today, OpenAI or GPT is a black box for everybody. You put an input, you get output, right? And the output is generated. It is non-existent generated output. So this kind of use cases where you need as an enterprise a causal analysis, a responsible AI analysis, we do it a lot. And how we do that? These are the principles: fairness, transparency, accountability, inclusiveness, privacy, and safety. So when you work with us on OpenAI, as an enterprise, as a startup, these all principles are applied to your use case. So we may deny you service, very frankly. If you are using OpenAI for non-ethical means, creating images which are not ethical in nature, we will deny you the service. If you are using OpenAI to spread hatred, if you are creating some content which is not right, which is not inclusive, which is not diverse, we will also stop your service. That's our commitment, that this has to be a service which a humanity will use for the betterment of all of us, not for some ulterior motives. So these are the three. In the interest of time, I'll skip this, but all of you know the prompt and the completion, the DALI, the prompt and the response, and the codex. You can write a English language query and say the response. So people say the hottest programming language of the future is English. Python, Scala, Java, ho gaya. If you know how to write best English, you're the best programmer today in the world. We call it prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is going to be the best career. So any of your kids are telling, I don't want to be an engineer, I want to be English literature graduate, please allow them. They will earn the most in 5 years. Another important thing, there is always a concern about data, right? Because it's a black box for you, where my data is going. So when you use OpenAI within Microsoft Azure, we guarantee you that your data is your data. It will not be used for training any mother model. So OpenAI, you will get all the benefit of that model as an API. So whatever they trained on the Wikipedia articles or open source softwares, you'll get it. But if you are a bank, you are an e-commerce company, you are a startup who is having a very secret IP, or you are a telecom organization, your data will not be going to OpenAI servers for training their model. So this is very guaranteed by Microsoft as a commitment to you, legal commitment. So this is what the middle structure you should focus, right? You are it. I was telling you the use case that if you are a telecom organization and you get a complaint that I have a complaint on the call center and I send you an email, when you write back me an email, generally there's standard for, sorry. Yeah, please.
Yes, I have little question about accountability, transparency. There are 4 or 5 factors you have listed. That on that basis, the ChatGPT respond to your query. But there is any user ask for seek any financial advices, that is also not responded. Can you just explain that factor?
So that is a great question. This is responsible AI, by the way. The question for those of you who could not hear, listen. He asked, if you ask for financial advice to the bot, it will not give you. It will give all the facts. If you ask a stock, Tata Motor, ITC, Maruti Udyog, stock ke bare mein puche, it will give factual data about from the moneycontrol.com or a BSE website. But if you ask, should I invest into stock? It will say, please consult your financial advisor. Now that is responsible. Yeah. The reason is SEBI says, or even US ACC says that any person or a product or a software which is non-certified by ACC in US and SEBI in India can offer a financial advice. So if ChatGPT starts giving you financial advice, कौन से stock में invest करना है, and then you sue the company कि यार इसने मुझे बोला stock में डालो मैं तो डूब गया. So that's the responsible AI. You will not get answers to the questions which are ethical in nature, regulatory in nature, right? Similarly, if you ask about a medical treatment, that's also a new thing. Medical treatment, it will say that this is only for a reference. Please consult a registered medical practitioner, right? You cannot have regulatory answers from this. So let's see a demo. This is the balance sheet on money control. It's a public data, so I could use this. I'm asking a question on the right side, and I'm sending that data here. And I say, explain. So if you see what just happened, this is the power of GPT-4, by the way. It can understand a tabular structure. And you can try this today. You don't need a Azure access or any OpenAI access. Just go to Edge browser. Go to Edge browser. And there is a Edge Copilot. Right side mein, there is a Edge Copilot. Open any page. So, sir, आपके question के लिए, you want to analyze a balance sheet? You can analyze कि क्या है, what is the deposit, what is the asset. But whether you want to invest in the stock, it won't answer you.
It will also show the what from which the data has been fetched for this that from below. Yes,
You have
yes.
to report any with this public data, right?
From NSC data or like that, huh? Sorry,
So this is on money control, but you can do it on NSC website, BSc website, right? But it will not give you advice. Remember, it is a summarization tool. It will analyze the long tables, balance sheets, P&L for you, but it will not give you advice to invest or not invest, right? This is the prompt engineering. Anybody heard about prompt engineering? I just said English is the best language, right? This is a prompt engineering. How would you prompt it? And this is a good skill. You can take a photo of this slide if you want, even for your personal life. If you want to have a best answer from ChatGPT, you have to follow this structure. If you want to get best answers from ChatGPT, you have to follow this structure. You have to give a personality to the prompt. What does that mean? If I want to set up an assistant for teaching, I will say, you are a friendly and helpful instruction coach helping teachers plan a session. I am giving a personality. Okay? Then you say that what you are expecting me to do as a helpful chatbot. First, introduce yourself, right? Ask the teacher what topic they want to teach. And then ask. So, if you learn to write the prompts the proper way, you can get the best answers. And here, many people don't spend time. They think generative AI and ChatGPT is a magic. I will ask three simple words and it will give me an answer. It will give you an answer, but it will be hallucination. You have to follow this structure. This is the best practice in prompt engineering. फोटो लिया सबने इसका फोटो ले लो. पर्सनल लाइफ में बहुत काम में आएगा इसका. You have to give a structure to the prompt. Okay, now here is another, again, I'm taking a public example. So if you want to analyze a chart, now earlier example, we saw a table, right? There was a table, balance sheet. This is the chart I want to analyze. Now GPT-4 can also read charts, by the way. Okay, so let's see how it reads. This is the chart given to the model. And we are asking the query. Any insights on the spike you see? There is a spike here if you see. So there is a spike here on which we are explaining कि ये spike कैसे आया graph पे, right? So it is explaining the graph represents the stock market, which is the Sensex. It's a BSE Sensex, right? It is also saying the significant increase in the value because of the point also shows the increase. So it is showing that not only for the stock, for the benchmark index also there is a change. So it is saying you exactly कि market ही ऊपर चला गया, stock भी ऊपर चला गया. So there may not be a reason for stock to behave other than the Sensex or a Nifty. That's the you can get from the graph. So now there is a there is a very sensitive question people ask. What will happen to the jobs? People have this question that सब अगर system करने लगी तो jobs का क्या होगा? So that is why we believe the jobs which we know today may change into something new. But there will be new jobs created which you don't even know today. What are the names and titles? And I'll give you an example. There is a beautiful book I showed, Prediction Machines. सबसे पहले. In that book, there is an example called 1995. Now, what happened in 1995? It was an internet year. Internet was privatized in US in 1995. The last internet node was privatized in US. Netscape Navigator का browser था एक. In today's generation, in Chrome and Microsoft age, we don't even know that, but there was a Netscape Navigator as a browser. It went for IPO. And Microsoft launched Windows 95. So 95 is a very year which is like a history in computing, right? In that year, when the Office suite came out with the Windows, people said, "Abhi to Excel sheet aa gaya, accountants का क्या काम है?" All the calculations are done by machines, right? So what is the use of accountants? But did accounting jobs went away in last 20 years? Right? Still there are CAs, ICWAs, commerce graduates. We all have that. So just because the technology came, jobs don't go. There are new jobs which come. You talk about first industrial revolution. When first industrial, James Watt and chai, सबने school में सीखा है ना, James Watt and chai, steam engine. The factory started in London and UK. Before that, was there a job called factory worker? In 1760s, 1780s, was there a job called factory worker? You have to go to a factory, you swipe your card, work 8 hours and come home. Was there a job? No. So when the industrial revolution happened, people said jobs will go away. In fact, new jobs were created. So the word co-pilot is, it will help you to improve your productivity. So if you are a lawyer, it will help you to read large legal documents faster. If you are a financial analyst, it will help you, the way I showed, to analyze balance sheets and P&Ls faster. So we call it co-pilot. A co-pilot for everyone. You're a doctor, you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you're a programmer. The co-pilot will help you add productivity to your jobs. So anybody is afraid about the job loss is not true. In fact, we will create more jobs because of this generative AI technology. Because now you will spend more time into synthesizing the data than analyzing the data. Right? Okay, so this we saw. I'll skip this in the interest of time. The another prompt engineering ka example. This is interesting. We create a lot of documentation, right? We create a lot of flow charts, the process charts in all organizations. Can you explain the process? The reasoning engine can explain the process. You give the chart and ask the question. Help me with R&R for design and engineering teams. It is reading the chart. So it actually read the entire flow chart and showed you the steps. Now this is what I was talking about, the co-pilot functionality. If you want to analyze the entire documentation or pictures, how fast you can analyze it, right? Now this is interesting. This is absolutely interesting. And some of the organizations in India are doing this in startup world. I can't name them for the confidential purposes, but this is the real use cases where people are doing it. What can be the use case, by the way? Fritz ka photo hai. Anybody? What you can make tonight with this? My refrigerator only has these things. What can I make? Right. So I'll ask the question. स्मूदी उसको नहीं समझा, आपने स्मूदी बोला था, but he gave you 2 recipes. that with this in your fridge, you can make this, right? This is very interesting. And people are trying to use it. Now imagine you are a food delivery startup. You are a quick service restaurant. You are a grocery delivery person. You want this functionality in your application. It can be other way around also. I can upload a recipe and I say, you know what? I saw this recipe on YouTube. मुझे बनानी है आज, क्या क्या लगेगा? I can add a recipe and I can say order whatever I need from your application. I want to eat biryani today. I will upload a recipe. Chawal, chicken, paneer, matar, sabjiyan, जो होगा मंगा लेगा. Now this is what I'm telling, the new use cases which you can think of. If you're a product designer or a startup, think about this kind of use cases than spending much time on your look and feel of application. We spend a lot of time on cosmetics than these kind of functionalities, right? Now this is a handwritten form, by the way. It's a form which is with the ball pen se bhara hua hai. Even it can be read by GPT. Look. Sorry? कोई नहीं पहचान पाया सर. डॉक्टर के हैंडराइटिंग कोई नहीं पहचान पाता है. That's GPT आने में टाइम लगेगा अभी. Okay. So we'll see this thing. We want to explain this. Now, imagine you're a jewelry manufacturer or a jewelry seller or apparel seller, right? You want to explain what is this. Now I'm telling them generate a product description. Now this is e-commerce use case, by the way. ये jewelry का example है. But imagine you have a catalog में so many products coming every day, right? Now if you see, this is like the way a creative writer will write, right? Exquisite and all words उसने use किया, right? Exquisite necklace, delicate chain, adorned with altering diamonds, perfect accessory to elevate the outfit. This all a human writes today. There are creative writers doing this. They can explain this today, right? And now you multiply the problem at the scale. I am an e-commerce giant. I have an e-commerce application. I have a sale going on. I get 5,000 products added to my catalog daily. How do I upload on website their descriptions? This is the way. The scale. Anything at scale you can solve it through generative AI. Okay, now the big question. How would I use this for my business? Now this is where people are still confused. They understand the technology, they understand the power, but they don't know how to start. So let's kind of break it on the use cases where you can use this. You want to take a photo? Take a photo. This is from the Gartner report on generative AI. Any technology you are adopting, it should solve these 5 questions. Don't do anything for the sake of it or glamour of it or gimmick of it. Just because everybody is doing everything on ChatGPT, मुझे भी ChatGPT करना है. Don't do that. This has to be your consideration as a business owner. Will this make me unique? Are there enough vendors in this market? I can replace you if you fail. Is there an option? Will I have skill sets to get this started? Maintain karunga, and will it fit my data strategy? And the last one is very important because generative AI use is very easy today because you have a LLM pre-trained. But if your data is not very secure and safe and your data pipelines are not written, this is useless. So your data platform and data strategy has to be first made properly before you go generative AI way. This is also very important. Take a photo of this as well. Whenever you are doing a generative AI use case, do not use it for numerical use cases. Why? GPT-4 can read tables. We saw that, right? In that P&L example, we saw that GPT can read the table. But to read the tabular data and numerical data, there are enough and more reporting and data warehousing technology available today. There are enough. Do not try to force fit a generative AI technology for your data warehousing. Second, do not use generative AI technology for any automated process or advice without a human review. Sir, आपका use case, financial advice, doctor's advice. No. Anything which is touching human life, anything which is touching regulatory compliance, anything which is touching ethical boundaries, do not automate through AI. There has to be a human in the middle. Don't do it. But where you can use it, the right side. You can use it for the textual use cases. Anywhere you get a lot of calls, recordings, emails, chats, Twitter, wherever customers interact with you on textual basis, right? Use it. Also, information discovery, knowledge mining. There are so many examples, especially for startup world. There are so many examples where you have everything in your organization, but a person leaves the job, and then you don't know where the documents are. So first, you have to create your knowledge mining documentation very clearly on a network drive or a OneDrive or wherever you store your data, and you do a knowledge mining search on that. So for example, next time you're creating a customer proposal or next time you're creating a client code, you have to refer to existing knowledge in you as a startup than creating and reinventing the wheel again. So there you can use generative AI very effectively and easily. So I will not explain this. We spoke about this, but I'll keep this slide for like 10 seconds. If you want to read, you can take photos, take it. It's just a recap of what we just discussed. What we can do: content generation, summarization, code generation, and semantic search, right? These are also top use cases. You can take the photo of this slide also. I won't explain all the 10, but we discussed. The most use cases today, which we see in market, and I show you examples again: content creation and design. Amazing use cases you can do in marketing, digital marketing, content creation, your media strategy. Chatbot and virtual assistant. Pretty much everybody is going for chatbots today. And there are some case studies I will show you. These are functional use cases. Again, very busy slide. But the idea of this slide is you can have use cases across your all the functions. It can be supply chain, it can be R&D, it can be IT, it can be legal, it can be marketing, it can be customer support, product development, HR. Now this is, I just tried, right? I was talking about the media campaigns. So today, if you want to create a media campaign, you have to give to agency. As a marketing leader or a sales leader, you explain to your agency today, मुझे ऐसा campaign चाहिए. You can still do that. But rather than giving a textual information or a verbal information, you can create yourself a campaign like this and then give to agency to run. That will be more effective. So this is an example where you can create a collection of you want. So this is the way you give a prompt. This is again a prompt engineering example. So if you really see here, there are specific instructions given to the prompt. This is very, very important. And this I always keep my customers are telling this. You have to be absolutely specific for the model to answer you the right answers. I am giving him what should be my post length, 40 words. What should be my headline? What words I should choose? What is the poem? Appropriate emojis, very important. As Instagram post pe hashtags, emojis are important, right? And it creates an Instagram post like this, which will appeal to the young janta of Instagram. It has an emoji also, right? So we said emoji bhi bana, usne emoji bhi bana diya. These are the DALI 3 prompts, by the way. The same image I created of my third daughter at the start of the presentation. You can create these beautiful images with DALI. This is unreal. See the details of that boy, his hair, the way he's playing with the football, the astonishment of these boys. This is unreal. These boys don't exist. But the kind of finesse it has in the Gen AI, right? Now imagine the possibilities when you're creating your catalogs, product brochures, models. You can actually use this. You can design the products with this. Sorry. Yeah. So the question was this image generated immediately? Yes, they did. 5 seconds. It's non-existent. You just tell them a gold and diamond earring inspired by free-flowing fabric and curves. It created the design, jewelry image. Create a photorealistic with a simple gold necklace in a floral theme. This is non-existent. Created in 4 or 5 seconds by the machine. If you are a travel site, travel website, you want to create a travel brochure, see, go amongst the nature with your family and spend time in the vacation. It looks like these people are walking in the forest and somebody took the photo, right? This is not. They are unreal. They don't exist. They are machine generated. Now look at the eyes of that model, by the way, created. A woman wearing traditional jewelry looking into mirror photorealistic. See the detailing. It looks like a real model who was photographed. Fashion show. This is the power. So think about it, what use cases you can use this technology for, right? No, nobody owns this trademark because these are generated by machine. This is not IP of anybody. This is created by machine. Yeah. Looks like a real man with the real veins on the biceps. See? People who go to the gym would understand this. Or athletic man running with a real look. He doesn't exist. He's unreal. So these are some of the use cases in India which are already live and which you have permission to say. So I put this logo. So Tata AIG Insurance, they use this for your website. But Mentra, you have must seen on their app My Fashion GPT, right? You can design your look on Mentra application. If you have Mentra downloaded, go to their application. You can say create my Diwali look. It will create a Diwali look for you based on your own preferences. Make My Trip introduced voice assistant for flight bookings recently. Hero Motocar. If anybody owns Zoom bike from Hero, you can see this in your app, Hero app. Zomato is using in their gold exclusive bot. Those of your Zomato gold customers can test this. Had a breakup, cheer me up. Now see the prompt. The interesting thing is, if you really know what to order, you don't need Gen AI. There's a situation. Mera breakup ho gaya hai, cheer me up. Okay, breakups can be tough, but you have got the perfect comfort. Mac and cheese, chicken noodles soup, green sandwich. कोई दोस्त बताएगा ना ये सब. पहले मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं दोस्त को फोन करूंगा, मुझे बॉट बता रहा है ब्रेकअप हुआ तो क्या खाने का, राइट? Now Paytm Pay, you can pay the rent, right? You can actually do the rent agreement scanning on Paytm with this. That's also a use case already did. Okay, this is actually we discussed, but those of you in the programming world, in the startup world, you please look at this, how the code is written by the natural language, right? So there is a McKinsey study. McKinsey says that if you use the Copilot for coding, your productivity increased by 25%. There is a study. So you can go and refer that study on the McKinsey website. Okay, so thank you. That's all I wanted to share. I'm around for 10-15 minutes. Any questions? Happy to answer. Thank you so much for patiently listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chinman. I think that was really enlightening. I don't know about others, even me. I was like totally clued in and listening to it. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining.